Christ as your personal Savior, and how that whatever turmoil you're going through, how having Him part of your life will get you through. And I'm thinking the same thing you're all thinking right now, that don't need to pray to some magic man in the sky, that says, I can get through this on my own, or whatever. So we hug, part our separate ways, and I go home that night, and I'm on my way home, and I think to myself that, you know, this is more important than me. This is more important than what I can get through. This is about my child's life. So I prayed. I really prayed for the first time in my life ever, and I begged God for His help. I begged God for His forgiveness for even getting myself into this situation, and getting my girlfriend into this situation, and ultimately my child into this situation. And I gave it all up. I said, listen, I don't know where else to go. I don't know what else to do. The only thing right now that can save this whole situation is you. If you're really there, if there's really a God, and you're really Jesus Christ and the Son of God, it's yours. Handle it for me. Nothing happened. There was no cloud of smoke. There was no big bang. There was no, that's it. You know, nothing changed in that moment. I went on about my life. The abortion was still going to happen. There was just that moment was all that I had. And I didn't pray anymore. I didn't do anything else. I went to work, came home, went to work, came home. The third day after this, now, driving home from work, and I worked a 12-hour shift then, and it's dark, and I'm driving home, and suddenly this warmth comes over me, like a glow from a lamp, like sunshine, like sun shining on you. And my skin began to tingle, and I remember I was driving, I had my hands on the wheel, and I'd kind of look down, and I got these goosebumps, you know, and wow, that was cool. And in that very next moment, everything changed. It was like every sense just tingled all at one time. It was strange. I can't put it into words because it's indescribable. It was just something that came over me. And I didn't hear the words, everything's going to be all right. But I heard the words, everything's going to be all right, spoken into me, not into my ears. I didn't see somebody say it. I didn't smell somebody say it. But everything, every sense acted together and told me that everything was going to be all right. And there was this amazing, amazing, calming peace that came over me in that moment. That, you know, I believed it. I believed everything that I just felt. There was just no more doubt in that moment that there was a God and He was looking out for me, that He cared about my situation. I go home that night. I had the next day off of work, and I get a phone call, and it's girlfriend. She's crying her eyes out, and she says, listen, I can't go through with this. She says, I know my parents wanted you to pay for it, but I'm going to fight them, and I want you to fight them with me. And that was a 2-hour conversation summed up in 5 seconds there, so I apologize, but that's what it came down to. So we fought them, and we put it off, and we got past the point where there was just, they wouldn't do an abortion anymore. And so my son was born a few months later, healthy baby boy, perfect little baby boy. 14 months later, you know, the girlfriend and I had kind of gone our separate ways. We had irreconcilable other differences that got in the way. So I don't want, that's not part of the story. Part of the story is that 14 months later, my son is visiting me for a weekend, and mother's supposed to come pick him up, and I don't see her again for a year. So I was a single dad after that for almost 5 years before I met my wife, and we now have 3 more boys together, and the most recent one was born less than a month ago. So I have been nothing but blessed since that moment, since that salvation moment. You've seen it. I spoke about it in another video, and that salvation moment is so important to me. In fact, it's the most important part of my testimony, because that is the one and only reason that I am who I am today, that I am a Christ, God-believing, Christ-loving Christian. It's because He saved the life of my son. He intervened. He gave her that conviction that, we need to have this child, and he's to be born for a reason. And my son is the absolute joy of my life. Let me tell you, for all the pain that teenagers are, he's 15 now, for all the pains in the butts that teenagers could be, wouldn't trade any of it for the world. Let me finish off by saying that this has been very hard for me because my son does not know this story. I've told him in the past that he's part of my testimony, but I haven't told him how. And the last thing I would ever want to do is for my son to think that his mom ever considered ending his life for any reason. If she wants to tell him that, that's fine, but it's just not my place, and I don't want to go there. So this video is very hard for me, just because he's 15 years old and he gets on the internet and there's a possibility he could watch this. So son, if you are watching this, come talk to me. I love you. As for everybody else, I thank you for bearing with me and sitting through this. And as I'm sitting here talking, I don't know how many videos this has taken. Hopefully only 1, probably 2, maybe 3. But thank you for bearing with me. And I would appreciate maybe just this one time, maybe you leave the comments section for any bigotry or hatred or anything that you want to tell me that I'm nuts. Maybe you just leave it out this time, because there's nothing you're going to say, there's nothing you can say that can change that experience for me. Nothing. So, that being said, now maybe you guys understand where I get the saying from that true peace begins with how we treat our children.